The margarita mix, it may still happen.
Yeah.
my nice new old smoky glass.
I
Nice.
had the Oktoberfest the other night. And that was very good.
Drink both of them or just the one?
Just the one. I wanted to try it out.
Do you guys have an excessive amount of pint glasses like I do?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay.
I have an
Right.
excessive amount of.
I'm trying to figure out how do I
glasses, too.
sift through them. What do I get rid of? What do I keep?
Keep them all.
I took them all with me when I moved, so that's I'm really no help for you.
Mm-hmm.
I keep buying more.
Yeah, same thing.
I got a rubber one, so if I drop it, I don't break it.
Like I have an excessive amount of pint glasses. I have the dimple glasses. I have the the fancy ones. I have the lowball glasses, shot glasses. I got a shit ton of them, and I don't have my bar yet. So I'm hoping at least when I have my bar, they'll have a place.
That's what I thought, and I had to put more alcohol that we bought up on the refrigerator in the basement. I have no room in my bar anymore.
Alrighty, so I ordered a nice microphone setup online for myself because I re-listened to our episode and I said it was kind of sad that our guest had the best sound quality out of the four of us.
Yeah, I went back to my stand mic. I think that sounds better. And I've got it to where I think I don't have to like be right here to make it sound good.
I ordered like the one that Donald had with like the little thing in front of it.
Right.
360
It's
degree.
it's the pop filter, so
Yeah.
that when you have your P's, it doesn't shoot the scale up. Yeah.
Oh man.
Pop goes the weasel.
So yeah, it's bad enough. I have a parent. It's back to school night tomorrow night. We had a faculty meeting today, so I'm like, I had to leave late today too.
Mm.
Oh, Jesus.
I had nothing but meetings all day and a double coverage today, so I'm exhausted.
I feel the same.
I am not able to record on October 6th, which is a Thursday. My sister-in-law is getting married.
Okay.
So we could do it the day before if you want. Yom Kippur.
Yeah, I'm good any day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Since we're talking dates, you guys available on October 1st?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
I have no idea.
I know Megan just sent me something that we're doing.
Not this Saturday, but the following one you're talking about.
Right. But
that is the rehearsal dinner for said wedding.
Okay.
At night?
From 6 till 10.
Yeah, but I'm looking at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, I mean, I'm fine with that as long as I'm there for the rehearsal dinner. So I can do it in the afternoon, I think.
I was just trying to get the D&D game in.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm good. Again, yeah, as long as, I can make sure I'm home and changed and showered and
let me let you know though too, because I don't know what I have going on that day either.
Yeah. I know I can't do it the following weekend because you and I are going out that night.
Yeah, I hope not. I bought us tickets for a fucking wrestling show.
and I have to spend the day with my wife since it's our anniversary.
Adrian's mad at me for getting tickets to the wrestling show. I said, I didn't plan it. Blame it on Vince McMahon. Like, I didn't do it.
And then the following weekend is my birthday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Today's my house anniversary.
Mm.
My agent reached out.
Uncle Joe hasn't gotten back to me on my house anniversary. All right. I added some things to the calendar of shows. So we're doing a video game one tonight, and then next week I thought we'd do one at a director show.
Right.
And I didn't know what director you guys wanted to do, so I had we could do Scorsese, we can do Chris Nolan, we can do whoever. I'm not sure what you guys want to do. You want to do Michael Bay?
No, not really.
Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski. So we could figure that one out, and then I figured we ease our way into Halloween. So October 6th, which will change to the 5th, we'll do like jump scares. Maybe I'll have them pop up on the screen as we're doing the show just to make you guys jump. And then I thought on the 13th we can do another one of the this year's in film history.
That's what
Yeah.
we were talking about doing for the end of our seasons.
Okay, doing this year in film history.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to remember last season.
Okay. Well, we can change this. This is flexible. And then October 20th, I have best like imaginary characters in film.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a whole show dedicated to Harvey the Rabbit.
Mhm.
And then the Halloween show, we talked about doing the Universal monsters and doing like a recast. And I'm going to reach out to the Recast 2.0 guys and see if either of them want to be on the show that night or if both of them want to come on the show that night.
Okay.
Because I thought it'd be cool to have them come on and do it with us, since that's the whole premise of their program.
Yeah, well,
And they got a good following. They got more following than Donald has, unfortunately. So.
Listening to the one I listened to today was that they're changing their format a little bit to be. They're actually going to recast the director, so it could be like a whole different movie.
I have something like that for later on too. I put it on the show notes for like a later show. Dream casting. So like if you could create a movie, like who would be your dream director, dream actor, dream actress? Like you got complete control over the whole production. Who would you bring in? Fucking fruit flies.
Like my Shark Vader?
Yeah, Shark Vader. What's it say underneath there?
That's from
Ripley's Aquarium. I got a fruit fly.
Kill the mountains.
It's one tiny fruit fly. I think he's going after my banana beer.
You know what you never see? Chocolate flies.
Chocolate flies.
Chip flies. Just fruit flies.
I've seen a house fly.
Oh, we can't do that anymore.
Why not?
They've been canceled.
Who?
The crows from Dumbo.
Oh.
They're still in the cartoon. They have not been canceled. We just can't do anything from Song of the South anymore since they got rid of Splash Mountain.
One of my favorite podcasts that I listen to, it's called Blank Check, and it's these two guys. The one guy is actually an actor, and they talk about directors like filmographies and how after early success they're given a blank check to make like any project that they want, and sometimes the check clears and sometimes it bounces. Like that's their slogan. Mm-hmm. So today they actually did a review of the new Disney Plus live action Pinocchio. That was
not that good.
Oh my god, it was it was hilarious.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
It was not good.
It was hilarious listening to them like complain about it though, because it's like enough already.
Mm-hmm.
I told Katie, I said the minute they try to do a live action of Sword in the Stone, I'm fucking out. I'm done. All right, so I've been recording, so I'm ready to go when you guys are. We got movies that who did the La La Land?
I did.
I saw it earlier and I read the description and I cracked up laughing. Like I was like, that is fucking genius. That's so funny.
I didn't think we were adding to this. I thought we were keeping our own.
I said it's up to you guys. I didn't really care either way, but
so I told each list.
So I said to Mike, I'm reading it. Like the thing that got me was the last part, mix between Rock Band and Dance Dance Revolution, where you don't get the girl in the end. That killed me.
Well, I was trying to think of one. I was gonna go Dirty Dancing. I went, no, La La Land. You don't get the girl at the end. That's even worse.
Yeah, I kind of like my choices. I thought they were pretty good. So we'll get to that. That'll be fun. So we'll do our usual intro for your This Day in Film History. I added one thing to the end there because Monday Night Football premiered today, actually, 1970, and then I just a little thank you to Donald for coming on the show again last week, and I'm going to give some shout outs because some of these shows either gave us shout outs this week or did things to help us get in the rankings. So they either like reviewed or subscribed or whatever. So, and the guy that does the World Wrestling podcast, Austin.
Yes.
On the last one on the list there, he started a private group on Twitter for all independent podcasts. And so what we've been doing is trading off reviews and listens for each other. So it'd be like I'd post an episode and be like, I have a new episode up. Who's going to listen to it and give it a review? and then whoever answers, I go and listen to their podcast and leave it a review. So we're kind of like trading off on that to kind of help each other out.
Okay.
And he also, I told him I was going to Extreme Rules, so he might have me on his show to talk about it. And then the main segment. And I think I have to re-record that sponsor segment, Mike. Did it come through really loud when you were listening to it?
It came up louder than the
Rest of the show.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I did it, it was lower than the rest of the show. Like it was like almost silent.
Jeez.
So I got to figure out like a happy medium there.
I mean, it wasn't like blow my ear out, but
For me, it was blow my ear out because I listened to it pretty loud to begin with. But
I kind of have to listen to ours loud because sometimes we're kind of low, and I'm in a truck.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like I'm driving, with the road noise and everything. I usually have it up pretty loud. All right, so I'm ready to go, and you guys are.
Go for it.
I'm good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 76 of Films and Fermentation. Tonight, we are looking at movies that should or shouldn't be made into video games. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, we decided to get creative and design our own video game versions of films. For shits and giggles, we're looking at films that should be made into video games and films that should never, ever, ever, ever be made into video games.
Most of it's shit, and there's going to be a lot of giggles.
Yes, and I said, so like, I didn't say this to you guys already yet, but the restriction I had in my mind is it shouldn't be something that was already turned into a video game.
Right.
Like there are some movies that were made into games like RoboCop and things like that. So I'm like, I tried to avoid that. I tried to go with things that I'm pretty sure were not video games already. Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsfermentation@gmail.com or visit us at Instagram.com/filmsfermentation, Facebook.com/filmsfermentation. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Pods, we're on all those good things, including Good Pods. Or you can get all those links at linktree.com/filmsfermentation if you don't have the time to go search it out yourself. What are we drinking tonight, gentlemen?
I'm having a banana beer provided by my friend Mike from Cherry Street Brewing, established in 2012. It's called Hammered Monkey.
What do you know? I'm also having a Hammered Monkey from my friend Michael. And I'm getting tortured by a fucking fruit fly that I'm pretty sure is after the banana scent in my beer.
This is a Hefeweizen. It is 5.5% alcohol by volume. And it's a German-style unfiltered wheat ale with notes of banana and clove and fruit fly. Okay.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga.
And then I'm going to continue on with a s'more stout, kind of like a dessert from the Big Muddy Brewing Company, 5.5% alcohol by volume.
If I haven't swallowed my fair share of fruit flies by the time I'm done this beer, I might move on to the Oktoberfest.
Nice. So I'm going to be the one that's different tonight then.
Okay.
I am drinking what Old Smoky calls Southern tea.
Okay.
It is Old Smoky Tea Shine Moonshine, Old Smoky Peach Whiskey, and Sweet Tea with a garnish of the Old Smoky peach that's soaked in the moonshine.
So basically, it's a lot of moonshine.
A lot of moonshine, a little bit of sweet tea. Oh, and whiskey.
And whiskey.
Yeah, peach whiskey.
I'm gonna apologize to listeners in advance if you hear me cursing a lot tonight. It's because I'm being inundated with fruit flies for some reason. They are all over me right now. All right. Moving on. Mike?
This day in film history. This day in film history, in 1937, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit is published by George Allen and Ewan in London.
And we're all better off for it, except for the film that was made about it. If you're
That's
gonna
a
watch,
cartoon
I
film.
was gonna say, if you're gonna watch something, watch the Rankin Bass one. If anything, don't be lured into that 5-movie or
It was
whatever
3.
was it, 8 movies, something like that on a
It was
book
3.
that was 100 pages long. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot that happened this day, so let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
In 1955, commercial television begins in the UK with the launch of ITV. Soon airs its first advert on UK television for Gibbs SR toothpaste.
I looked up the video for this earlier because I was curious to see if I could find it, and it's on YouTube. It's a 1-minute long commercial for this thing called, the Gibbs toothpaste. And I don't know if it's just me, but there's something like oddly like sexual about it for a commercial from 1955.
I may have to watch it.
I'm gonna see. Well, I'm gonna bring it up and I'll see if I can share it with you guys. And hopefully you can hear it because I'm hoping the Ring app that I'm using now is better than the Zoom app was with this. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Cannot share your screen. Never mind. You guys can see it on your own if you'd like.
Yeah, I guess
Watch
so.
it yourself.
Watch it yourselves. Yes, I can always tag it into the video edit that I do later on for YouTube. So, but it is a very weird commercial. It's like, welcome to the land of frost, and there's like a toothpaste tube and a toothbrush frozen in a block of ice. And then there's like a girl brushing her teeth in the most like exaggerated way possible. It's like it was a really weird commercial. Michael's answering phone
You
calls.
gotta take that.
No, I'm
take that.
I'm muting the phone.
I thought maybe you were like waiting for an important phone call. It's gonna be one of those nights. I can't stop sneezing. Mike's answering phone calls. There's fruit flies up my nose.
And we got about 20 minutes worth of this day of mystery stuff.
And Kevin remembered his drink tonight at least. So.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead there, Mike. We got a lot of TV debuts this week.
Yep, in 1976, Charlie's Angels debuted. In 1982, Family Ties. 1987, Full House. 1989, Baywatch. 1994, Friends. 1999, The West Wing. 2004, Lost and Veronica Mars. And 2009, NCIS LA.
This is like a important week, I think, in TV ratings and all.
Yeah, well, you know what it is. Everyone had their season finale at the end, in May, because no one shows anything new over the summer. No one watches TV over the summer. So September is season premiere, and it's also typically series premiere because that's when they scrubbed what wasn't cutting it the year before, and got some pilots coming out the next year. I was a little confused as to the Lost and Veronica Mars TV show, but I realized they were two separate TV shows.
You were lost about Lost and Veronica Mars, but it's Lost.
Yes, I mean, I knew she was, like an investigator, but wow.
She was looking for the guys that lost.
I said this, this reminded me of it. Reminded me of, you remember when like ABC, NBC, and CBS used to do like their fall lineup special?
Right.
Yeah.
And there'd be like a half-hour special where they'd show you little clips of all the shows they had coming up. And they used to do like, there was one segment was always the Saturday morning cartoons.
Which is the segment that mattered.
Yeah, and I used to get fucking jazzed for that, man. I couldn't wait for the new Saturday morning cartoons to come up and all. And yeah, I missed that, man. They don't do that anymore because everything's streaming now.
Yeah. They don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. That's the worst.
I know.
You go down at some educational or informative shit.
That's why you turn it over to MeTV on Saturday mornings, and they have the old cartoons: Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, the Pink Panther, Popeye.
Mighty Mouse.
Not that far back, no.
Danger Mouse.
No, they need some Smurfs, some Snorks, some Gummy Bears.
Well, you can watch Gummy Bears on Disney Plus.
Some Dungeons and Dragons.
I have that, so I can watch it whenever I want.
Wanted to point out something I saw on, I think it was on Facebook the other day about Friends, that all of the cast members of Friends are currently older than the youngest actress on Golden Girls when that premiered back in the late 80s.
Oh wow.
Like the youngest actress on that show is at the time is younger than the youngest like actor from Friends is now.
Wow.
Like that's how long it's been since Friends been on the air. Friends is almost it's almost 30 years. That's 1994, yeah. So I added that Monday Night Football also premiered on this actual day that we are recording. So we are recording on Wednesday, September 21st. So on September 21st, 1970, Monday Night Football.
52 years ago.
52 years ago, Monday Night Football premiered. The Browns defeated the Jets 31-21.
Just for your information, guys, everything that I wrote down is from today, the 21st.
Yes, everything premiered
I
today.
didn't go through the whole week. I just found everything that was today. I'm like,
I think it's because also like today, I think it's like the official end of summer, the official beginning of fall.
True.
Yeah.
So that's probably another reason why
we're missing a whole series that premieres right now because we're recording a podcast.
Andor premiered on Disney Plus today. And I had that in there. They dropped 3 episodes already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's 3 episodes that they released today, and then a new episode every week, and it's going to be 12 episodes total.
Nice.
So it'll be done. It'll be 9 weeks. It'll be over. But
I was worried that it was going to be 3 episodes dropped and then just 3 more.
And that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
3
we're going to
episodes.
Obi-Wan again.
But that was my. I mean, that's more Game of Thrones style.
Yeah.
It's like here's your 6 episodes.
Yeah, it was like we've done 13 episodes every season, but now in the very last season, the most important season, the season with all the character changes, we're gonna do 6 episodes and fucking rush it. Mike, what's your fun drink fact for tonight?
Tonight I'm going to talk to you guys about the proper glassware for beer styles. The Weizen glasses are tall and wider at the top than at the base. Thank you. The design is to hold the large amount of foam produced by these highly carbonated wheat beers. There's the picture.
There's your sign.
Ooh.
I have definitely
plenty of those.
Yeah, I definitely have too many of those as well.
Yep. The Weizen glass.
I like to say we the 3 of us went to a beer festival this past weekend.
We did.
Fun times had by all. I still can't walk right. I am still in a lot of pain, but I had a good time nonetheless. It was a good day. Other than the fact that I look like a boiled crab when I got home. I pulled into the driveway and Katie called me and I'm sitting in the car in the driveway talking and I'm like, I got to get off the phone. My face feels like it's on fire. Like I was like red. I was all like beat up and red.
Did you have a favorite beer from the beer fest?
I have a hard time remembering all the ones I had now, but I really liked the last one that we had, which was like that raspberry, blackberry, whatever it was. That one was really good. The pumpkin spice one from what was it, second tier or top tier or something like that?
I thought it was Travis.
Well, it was Tim. It was Tim's something, but
Tim's Lair.
Oh, okay. Southern Tier. Southern
Tier was the name of the brewery, and it was their pumpkin.
Yeah, Imperial Pumpkin.
I'm usually not
amazing.
a pumpkin. Yeah, I'm usually not a pumpkin ale guy, but it tasted like a fucking Ivan spice wafer.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then I kind of like that margarita gauche one that we had. It was a little tart.
Yeah.
But it was like it tasted kind of refreshing considering how hot it was out that day.
True, it was very hot that day.
And there were a couple I wasn't a fan of towards the end there. But I kind of feel like I don't know if it was the heat or whatever, but the beers were starting to taste like they were getting flat.
Okay.
So it was either
that makes sense. Yeah.
Either that or they were getting down to the bottom of the tap too. You know. What about you guys?
Guys, just so you guys know, Adrian is out quarantine.
Yeah.
So she decided we should watch something last night, and we started A League of Their Own.
Oh, how is it?
We watched the first 4 episodes, and I don't need to watch anymore.
It was a little disappointing. It was more about it's all about relationships and
the relationship.
Very little about the league.
I heard bad things about it, so I never even bothered starting it.
No, Megan and I watched it.
What really started to bother me about it to begin with is they're trying to make it like the movie never happened
Mm.
because it's with the Peaches again at the beginning, but it's a different coach, a different bunch of girls.
Okay.
But it's still the Rock, the
It's
Peaches.
still supposed to be about the American girls baseball, but not the characters you followed in the film.
It follows. I mean, you see the one player who's African American and she can't play on the team, and you follow her for a bit,
and
then you get the other players.
Her love story is irrelevant to the whole show.
Well, all of the love stories really don't help the show out very much, and I think that's 70% of the series is about the love stories of the women.
And it's all women on women.
Yeah.
Love stories.
And none of that had really anything to do with the movie. I'm gonna say
no, it's just taking the idea from the movie, and they should have gone with a different title, I think.
Or you could have done it this way, like the movie.
They could have done a different team.
Well, the league existed for 11 years, and the movie only really tells you the story about like the first year.
Yeah.
So why not continue it from the second year?
Yeah.
And show like what happens, like why does it end up ultimately closing when they start adding new teams and getting more girls to play, and like that. There's so much more you could have done with it than try to like rewrite the story of a movie that's fucking damn near perfect.
Yeah.
Donald's going to be upset about that. That's just like one of his favorite movies.
Yeah.
He was talking about it last show. Speaking of Donald, I'd like to say thank you again to Donald from the You, Me, and a Movie podcast, who joined us last week for the season premiere, episode 75, where we did our films The Time Forgot. If you out there would like to be a guest on Donald's podcast, he does a podcast where you bring him a movie and you guys talk about it, and it's an attempt to kind of make new friends through the mutual love of movies. So
you bring him a movie and he brings you a pizza.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You can.
I'm calling him now.
Pizza is not promised. You can, if you'd like to contact Donald to do his show, you can hit him up at You, Me, and a Movie 1. That's the number 1. You, Me, and a Movie 1 on Twitter.
Are you sure the pizza's not delivered?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I heard it's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. DiGiorno, not a sponsor.
Prohibited in some areas.
And I already said, we already talked about this. Andor premiered on Disney today. I'm really, really looking forward to watching that. I wasn't sure about it at first because I'm like, he was a character that I know what his fate is from watching Rogue One.
Yeah, but
but after seeing the trailer for it, I'm like, it's kind of intriguing now because you get to see like how he kind of gets to where he is at the beginning of Rogue One.
Yeah, that happened with the prequels too. We knew the fate of Obi-Wan and the fate of Anakin.
I say you watched Obi-Wan and you knew what he's going to happen to him.
Yeah, but it's Obi-Wan. He's kind of like already. I mean, Obi-Wan was a major league established character, whereas Andor was just this guy in a one-off film.
I am looking forward to it because it's the universe outside of the Skywalkers. And though the Mandalorian is also kind of that, they brought in the Skywalker.
Yeah.
Boba Fett, you're right.
Yeah, Rogue One. That was what was so intriguing about Rogue One itself. Yeah. You got to see a gritty side too, because it was like the stormtroopers were all covered in dirt and didn't look happy. And like the rebels. It was like the dirty side of the war. And
it was a wonderful link between the prequels and the man, you're looking fucking
fruit flies, man. It's killing me right now.
I am also looking forward to Abbott Elementary tonight. That is something that's
I haven't
premiering
watched
tonight.
it yet. I heard it's pretty good, and one of the actresses I think won the Emmy or was nominated for an Emmy for it. So.
No, she won. She won.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
She was at the Eagles game the other night, then had to go to GMA the next morning.
Speaking of the Eagles, I'm happy they won, but I am starting to get a little too old to stay up late to watch football.
Well, I mean, according to that game, you could have gone to bed at halftime and been fine.
I fell asleep like halfway through the third quarter, and then woke up in the fourth quarter and just watched the rest of it. And then I was hurting the next day, man. I was so tired. I'm still tired. All right. We've made it back onto Good Pods. We kind of fell off there for a little bit because we took a rather long break. But after last week's episode, we got ourselves back into the rankings on Good Pods. This time, we didn't just rank on a subgenre list like film reviews, which is usually where we were landing at. We are on the actual, full-on movie podcast list. Like,
Nice.
You really
movie
don't want
podcasts.
Adrian to listen to this episode, do you?
Yeah, I
Cal?
know. We're gonna drop in rankings. We got to get some people listening.
Well, what I like is I'm burping and I'm watching you go.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
we were number 88 of the top 100 movie podcasts on the Good Pod site.
Nice.
We're on the list with that podcast I was talking about earlier. Like, they're on there, and they're a national podcast.
Wow.
So that's pretty nice.
We're international. We got listeners in Germany.
We're international. I was looking at our Anchor
We're
statistics
big in
the other
Europe.
day. Hold on, I got to read you this because this is pretty funny. I was on the Anchor statistics list the other day. They changed it so you can kind of see a little bit more of the analytics. 93% of our listening audience is apparently here in the United States.
Okay.
4% is in Germany.
Hey.
The other 7%, or I'm sorry, the other 3%, I'm sorry, the other 3% is split between Ireland, Canada, Australia, Puerto Rico, Switzerland, Norway, South Korea, Mexico, India, Myanmar, Spain, Russia, and Bangladesh.
I'm big in Bangladesh.
And since they're splitting that last 3%, that's like basically like 8.1%.
That's one listener. One listener.
There's half a person listening to 3 seconds in each country. So we made it back on Good Pods, and as a thank you out there, I have to give a shout out to some of our Twitter friends who have either liked, subscribed, reviewed, or retweeted comments about our podcast in the last couple weeks. As always, the guys over at Bar Banter, Nerds of the Old Republic, Brandon and Travis of Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast. They are also the hosts of Apathetic Enthusiasm, the Unintelligent podcast, Recasted 2.0, the Made Up Movies podcast, Manic Pixie Weirdos podcast, our buddy Austin Boyer over at Wrestling World podcast, and as always, the Space Castle Pod for designing our current logo.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody out there. We are going to be getting to our main segment in a moment. We just ask you to bear with us as we take a break for a word from our sponsor, Newsly.me.
Newsly!
Got me!
So just like you, Lee, I have also downloaded Newsly.me, and I'm listening to my podcast on it as well.
All right, cool.
And unlike you two, I'm still listening to my shit on YouTube.
You're that subscriber.
That's me.
You're the one giving us that one view every week.
Yeah, well, I subscribe to us on YouTube, and it pops up on my feed, and I go, well, watch Critical Role anyway.
So, our main segment this week, we decided to do something a little creative instead of just, talking about the same old movies all the time or the usual stuff we normally do. We decided to do something fun tonight. We are going to tell you about some movies that we believe should be made into video games and how those video games would, play out. And then some movies that should never, ever, for the love of God, be made into a video game. So I will go first, since this is my idea, and I'll throw out to you how what I thought this was going to be like. So I went through a long list of movies because I feel like there's a bunch out there we probably could put on a list of movies that should have a video game. But like I said earlier, I tried to avoid ones that were already a video game. Like there was a Rambo video game, there's a RoboCop one, there's a million Batman video games, there's Avengers, there's whatnot, So I tried to avoid that and stick to movies that I'm pretty sure did not already have a video game. So the first one I came up with was Shaun of the Dead. And I thought, if you're going to have a zombie shooter game, when's the last time you saw a funny zombie shooter game? And so I figured my Shaun of the Dead video game would be a first-person shooter / fighter where you help Shaun and the rest of the gang avoid zombies while making your way to the Winchester Bar and I figured you can use cutscenes from the film in between the action to have it play out in a
Mhm.
story mode. My other one that I came up with, I was really proud of myself for this one. I thought this was a very good choice. Sandlot, the video game,
Oh, I like that.
and for
We're
that
playing
one,
baseball, boys.
well, for this one, I came up with two different playing modes. There is a story mode where you follow the characters from the film through their various adventures. Choose from any of the 9 main characters to experience the game differently each time. So you can play through like Small story, you could play through Benny and
Mhm.
Jet's story, you could play through Ham's story, and get like something different every time.
The question is, do you actually get to kill Smalls?
Well,
the Smalls get to
that
kill him?
remains to be seen. You know, I'd like the the one kid who gets real into the '60s and disappears. Like, I'd like to know where his story goes by playing his character. Like, you get to see what happens at Woodstock afterwards. You know. The other thing I said is you could also play an open-ended player versus player mode where you create your own Sandlot team and compete against other players.
That's what I was thinking you were going for. It's more of a sports game, and you have your own unofficial little league. You know.
Well, it's how a lot of the games do it now. Because I just got the new Madden game, and there's the franchise mode where you can create your own team. There's a player versus player. There's a mode where you play with legendary characters, and then there's a story mode where you play as a creative character and try to work your way up to the Hall of Fame. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do a game like that, I'm going to take a movie that I love and do that with it. So I thought The Sandlot really fit that mold. So, Mike, why don't you give us your video game choice?
I did the little known movie, The 13th Warrior.
With Antonio Banderas.
With Antonio Banderas. I'm thinking it should be an RPG with a horror theme similar to that of Resident Evil, because it is a really dark movie.
Mm-hmm. It's based off of a Michael Crichton book called Eaters of the Dead.
Yes,
exactly.
Very good book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you play the main character, Amen Ibn. I'm not even trying to pronounce his last name.
I think it's like
Joe.
Ahmed Ibn Fadlan, something like that.
Yeah, and they call it Ibn. I thought it was interesting. He had to learn the languages. So as you progress in the game, you learn the Viking language and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, pretty much an RPG. Just go out and fight shit and defend the home of the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. And you defend it from the whatever it is that's like hunting them in the movie and stuff.
Yeah, the Eaters of the Dead.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw the movie and I thought it wasn't a bad film.
It wasn't bad, no.
I think
underappreciated.
it is, and I
Yeah,
think it was. I think it was hurt by the studio's decision to change the name.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the 13th Warrior, I'm like, that's such a generic title. Like any movie could be called the 13th Warrior, really. And I thought like Eaters of the Dead is just so much fucking more intriguing.
Yeah.
So I think the studios rode high on the success of the Jurassic Park movie from Michael Crichton, and that greenlit so many of his other novels, and they processed it too quickly without putting in the effort, because Congo came out and that sucked. Sphere came out and that
was
wasn't
terrible,
very good.
and that book was great. That book was so good.
Was awesome.
Was Contagion him as well? Or
Contagion
not Contagion. I'm sorry, not Contagion.
The Andromeda Strain.
No. What was the
Outbreak?
one with Dust? Yeah, Outbreak. Was that Michael Crichton?
No. But I mean that was based off of Dead Zone, which is again not Michael Crichton, but so they just greenlit a lot of his projects, and I think that got wrapped up into it, and I think because of the failures of the other two. I think that just it didn't get a lot of publicity because they were like, oh, it's another one,
But again, for it was. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, another thing that was kind of missing from it, I think too, is like the book is told from Ibn's letters, and you get the sense from his descriptions. It's never like outwardly said because they didn't have the word for it back then, but that the Eaters of the Dead were like Neanderthals. Like they were the last of this like tribe of people that were going extinct.
Right.
And like you don't really get that in the film version either because you don't have the narration.
I think they kind of changed it to be like a offshoot of some kind of religion.
The book is very, very good, and the movie wasn't bad, but I feel like it was hurt by a lot of like studio interference.
Yeah.
Although I would play the game because it does sound like that type of like game, like what do you call not Warcraft? What's the other one I'm thinking of? Elder Scrolls,
Fantasy, Elder Scrolls,
something like that. Kev, what do you got for tonight? Right now, I'm designing a game called Kill All the Fucking Fruit Flies.
So I'm not sure if you guys even remember this game. It's an old computer game, but I'm using it as my basis for the This Is 40 video game. Okay.
So this is one that should be made.
It should be made,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Because of the content of Judd Apatow movies, I kind of likened it to playing Leisure Suit Larry. Yes, exactly.
In the land of the lounge lizards.
Yes, yes, and just the exploits of the husband in I want to say Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Reynolds and I think
Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and just dealing with going to have to having to go to the school to talk to the principal and the irate mom. Having the romantic issues with the wife, the issues with the business.
Are you able to play it from like multiple character perspectives? Like play it like it's Paul Rudd or Leslie Mann?
Yes. And
you sure this is not like The Sims?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it could be a Sims-esque where you can earn money for signing new bands or, spending money
I'm on board for it. I'm on board for it enough that I say we should just do a whole slew of Judd Apatow-based video games. So you can do like the 40-year-old Virgin RPG. You can do This Is 40. We can do a Knocked Up RPG. Not funny, people, though, because that movie sucked.
No, that was not... And the second one I thought of was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Wouldn't that be a great video game?
That's perfect, yeah.
Yes.
And then you have all the sequels.
Yeah.
And it would be an open world. You know how a lot of the online games, you have the open world concept.
I would love that game.
A multiplayer online RPG or whatever.
I would love for the game to have like an interactive like Hitchhiker's guide. Like you can go and look in the book and look things up, and it gives you all the crazy answers. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. But the crazy answers would have to be told to you by the robot's voice.
So they have to get a really good Alan Rickman impersonator to come in.
Not that anyone cares what I'm thinking.
What do you do if you are a manically depressed robot? That's fucking, and then you could also have a sandbox mode where you get to design the planets like Bill Nye's character does, like Slarty Bartfart.
They just put the dinosaurs in there to fuck with people.
Yeah. I made this bit called Norway. I won an award for it. That's Frank over there. Oi, Frank. I would love that's a great one, man. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I had thought as like some honorable mention ones, like Princess Bride would probably make a good game.
That would make a good game. Yeah.
I don't know if that actor actually was a Princess Bride. I feel like there probably was at some point. Like some lesser known like video game, but
like a NES or Super NES game.
Yeah, but I think that would be a cool one because that's another one where you can kind of play from multiple perspectives. Play like as Ego, play as Wesley.
The Never-Ending Story.
Never-Ending Story would be a good game. Labyrinth would be a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie's singing it in the other room.
Never-Ending
Story. Those are all like cool. All the 80s fantasy games, fantasy films would be good games. There was a Ghostbusters game already, so we can't do that one.
Yeah.
There were a couple. No, I mean, I know that they put one out recently it was PS3, then whatever. But wasn't there an older Ghostbusters game?
There was one.
Original NES or something?
The original NES had one.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Okay.
The original NES had one, and it was. I like the original NES one. I think the best out of all of them.
Oh yeah.
It was really like poorly developed and hard to play, but there was something like really like enticing about it. It was kind of like the old Jaws video game for the original NES. You could never beat the shark, but it really didn't stop you from trying.
You can never get a bigger boat.
Yeah. Do you have any other ideas you think for like games that we could develop here, or we want to move on to the ones that we should never do?
I mean, no. The third one I picked was, I'm thinking now it wouldn't work. It was Mean Girls. You know?
Jeez.
Well, it could be like a story based one, like a
That's what I was thinking, where you have to
a text based one like Zorg.
maybe where you have to slowly work your way into the plastics and
The sword.
you know
Can't do that.
that wouldn't work out so well.
Throw the rock.
So let's move on then to movies. I'm going to let Mike go first here because I just started eating a peppermint patty and now I can't fucking talk.
So you want to start with mine then?
So why don't you start with yours, Mike? Movies that should never be made in a video game.
I picked La La Land. It would be a mix between Rock Band and Dance Dance Revolution, where you don't end up getting the girl at the end. Don't make it, please.
That's the part that really got me when I read it earlier. I read, and you don't get the girl in the end, and I started laughing my ass off. And I'm like, but you can get the girl in the end if you're allowed to play from the point of view of the dude from that thing you do.
Does he have any other point of view except for the end?
Yeah. I like the Dance Dance Revolution part because considering how the dances in the film were meant to be like sort of imperfect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you. She gave me water from my mouth because I just ate the mint. That like the Dance Dance Revolution game would be like your score would be better if you fuck it up more often.
Yeah.
And then like what songs do you get to sing? You just get to sing the songs from the movie. How many times can you sing City of Stars without getting like annoyed with the game? City of Stars. So I chose the first one I chose. I was like, what's the most offensive thing I could turn into a video game? So I came up with Schindler's List, the video game, from the people who brought you Grand Theft Auto. And I'm just gonna leave it there so I don't alienate everybody out there who might be listening to the show. But the one that I came up with as my more serious one, I thought was pretty good. When Harry Met Sally, the game. It's a role-playing game where you play as either Harry or Sally as you navigate through the 80s dating scene in New York. Your decisions ultimately lead to successfully hooking up with each other or with another character, which would unsuccessfully land you with the wrong person, and you'd have to start the game over again.
To choose your own adventure.
But that's the point. You're not supposed to like it. It's supposed to be a bad video game. He goes, I don't like that one. That's the point.
Dude, what did you do? You sent your fruit flies over here. Are you kidding me?
It's the banana beer, I'm telling you.
Oh my God. They were waiting in the beer.
Here's the problem. I had that the other day on the show and didn't have one fruit fly.
I don't know. They're quick little fuckers to migrate from Blackwood to Cherry Hill that quickly.
Yeah.
So, Kev, what do you got for games that should never be made?
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Titanic.
Okay.
You play as Jack.
Yeah. And
you have to win a couple hands of poker to be able to get your tickets for the trip, and run past everybody to make sure you get on the ship at the right time. Then you have to try wooing this hoity-toity, girl who later pops up. And in the end, you end up dying anyway.
She won't let you on the door.
Like, the ultimate goal is that you inevitably will not win the game.
So,
you know what I want to know though? So when they do the scene in the car where her hand like smacks up against the glass and it's all like steamy, is that going to be a cut scene, or is that going to be a button masher sex scene like God of War? You know, like in God of War, you got to mash the buttons to have sex with the maidens. Like you got.
Yeah. So speaking of Titanic, while we were down in Tennessee, they
Pearl
have
Harbor, the video game.
no. Down in Tennessee, they in Pigeon Forge, they have the Titanic Museum,
Yes.
and part of the thing is
when I think a landlocked state like Tennessee, I think the Titanic.
well, yeah, but the thing is, when you go to the museum, they give you a card of a passenger or crewman. That's who you are as you go through the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out if you live or die.
Oh, they had that at the Franklin Institute when they had the exhibit come around.
Of course, when we went, I got a crewman, so you know what happened to me. I fucking died.
I want to be one of the guys playing the instrument as the ship goes going down. I want to know if you can play from the point of view of Billy Zane. Because ultimately you live, but you get to live knowing that you're a douchebag.
And that's only until the stock market crashes.
And then he kills himself anyway. Yeah. Do you have another one, Kev?
I do, but they're not very thought out.
Give me a title. Let's see if we could create one ourselves.
Well, I got a title for you then.
Okay.
The King's Speech.
Wait, what was that, Mike?
The King's Speech.
The King's Speech, the video game. So you have to help Colin Firth navigate his way through his impediment
Stuttering,
as a stammerer.
Yeah.
So you play. I guess you play from the point of view of Jeffrey Rush, and your decisions lead towards whether or not you get beheaded or you become his friend. What was the one you said, Kev? Her?
I had two. It was between Her and 500 Days of Summer.
Oh my God, 500 Days of Summer would be awful video game.
I just thought of another good game. A good game to make.
Mm-hmm.
Porky's.
Only if it was like an old Atari game where everybody's like weird block pixels and like you're looking through the hole at the girl's shower, but they're all little block pixel
They're all
people
pixelated,
with
yeah.
little pixelated boobies.
I was looking at her little pixelated boobies.
Don't put up a wanted poster. Have you seen this tallywhacker? What would be some other ones here, man? Like there's probably. I mean, I was so happy, like, kind of with my choices that I didn't think like there could be like other ones out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie's Choice.
Oh, fucking hell!
Man.
Can you imagine that? It's basically the game is either a 50-50 and it's basically the same thing every time. You're just picking which kid dies. Like, it would never like change.
Angela's Ashes.
Angela's Ashes. There's basically every like depressing film out there.
Yeah.
You know what would be a good movie turned into video game? I think
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
that actually probably would be, and I think
that would be a good.
I think there actually might have been a game. I know there's probably a mini game at some point. I was thinking Ocean's 11.
Okay.
That would probably be a pretty good video game.
Mm-hmm.
You could play from like either like George Clooney, Brad Pitt, or like Matt Damon, and have to like run through the heist and stuff like that.
Right.
Here's one. I actually just looked it up, and a list came, an IMDb list popped up. Movies that should never be made into video games.
Oh, good.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
Son of the Mask.
Oh,
Ooh. I know the Mask probably had a video game to it.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is not that. That's not that. What the list is. It's actually movies that should never been made at all.
Oh, Jesus.
It's basically all like remake films. It's like Psycho the remake, Total Recall the remake. I typed in movies. I accidentally typed in movies that shouldn't be made into movies instead of video games.
Yeah, I think most musicals probably shouldn't be made into a video game.
Oh, that was the one I wanted to say. One that shouldn't be made into a video game. Les Miserables.
That could be like the sequel to La La Land. It would be like a Dance Dance Revolution, like rock band.
You play as Jean Valjean.
Play Jean Valjean. You got to hit all the right notes, or you don't.
Like I said, most musicals like Sweeney Todd, The Sound of Music, I don't think they would make it.
I think Sweeney Todd would make an awesome game. You have to kill them, then they have to be made into meat pies.
Nice, yeah.
And then you got to throw them at people like Three Stooges style. You know what should never have made into a video game, but was made into a video game, but was actually a really good video game, was Three Stooges for the NES.
Was it?
There was a Three Stooges game, and my dad got it for me, and you play as each of the Stooges at different times during the game, and the goal of the game is to raise money for an orphanage that's about to be shut down. And you run through a bunch of like different scenarios that are all from like the most famous like Three Stooges cartoons.
Okay.
So like there's one where Curly's in the boxing ring and they have to turn the music on in order for him to like win the match. But in order for him to win the match, you play as Larry and you got to run to the store to get the radio to bring back to the boxing ring. But there's all these like obstacles in your way. And then there's like mouse traps you got to avoid. And it was actually like a really, really fun game. You wouldn't think for Three Stooges. Yeah. So this was an interesting show tonight, I think. It's a rather quick show considering how much we had to cover at the beginning there, but this is kind of
That's
fun.
okay. I only got 22%, 21% of my iPad left.
That's all right. I got like fruit flies up my nose now. I think I'll like pick them out. Anybody out there who's listening to this episode, drop us a line at filmsfermentation@gmail.com or one of our social media sites or Twitter and all that. And let us know what you think is a movie that should be made into a video game or a movie that should never be made into a video game. I'd like to hear what everybody out there has to say about that.
That'd be nice.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us for what is rather a quick episode tonight, I feel like. This was episode 76, movies that should never be made into film. Movies that should be made into video games or movies that should never be made into video games. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Remember, again, you can drop us a line at filmsfermentation@gmail.com or visit us at linktree.com/filmsfermentation for all of our podcasts and social media links. What did you think of your drinks tonight, gentlemen?
Mine was pretty good.
The Hefeweizen was good, the Hammered Monkey, but the S'more Stout, I forgot how chocolatey this was. This really was a dessert beer, which is good. I know I got another one down there for caramelizing later.
Minus the fruit flies, the banana beer wasn't too bad. Although I much rather drink, I think, the Oktoberfest that you got me, Mike, which I haven't got into yet, but I'm probably going to crack open after the show.
Oh, the Oktoberfest was the only one I tried down there. The other two, I just got at the store and went, hey, these sound good.
It wasn't bad. It was just, to me, it was more clove than banana, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think I would have rather a little bit more of the banana flavor. You have some beer wisdom for us there, Mike?
I do. If someone says you're hard to shop for, they just don't know where to buy the beer.
I know where to shop for you, both of you guys.
So,
yes, don't forget to stop by the crossroads between Pickled and Fermented next week as we present episode 77. Every season, we try to do a little deep dive into the career of a director. We've done Spielberg, we've done Brooks, we've done a deep dive into Harrison Ford's career. We did the music of Danny Elfman for one episode. So this episode, we're going to go back to directors, and we're going to do a deep dive into the career of Christopher Nolan, who I consider a modern master of his craft. And I feel like at some point, he's definitely going to win an Oscar at some point.
No, he's no relation to you guys, right?
No relation to me.
I'll claim him. Claim him.
I'm Italian.
Yeah, but you're married to a Nolan.
I'm married to a Nolan. Yeah, Kevin's middle name is Nolan. That really
True.
So yeah, join us next week for episode 77, the career of Christopher Nolan. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.